Welcome to Akulmach Live. The wild west of social media is officially over. As of February 2026, the tech industry is facing its big tobacco movement in Los Angeles court. And in this video, we break down the historical social media addiction trial between KGM versus Meta and Google that could dismantle the legal shield big tech has used for decades. For the first time in history, a jury hearing evidence that platforms like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok weren't just hosting content, they are allegedly engineering addiction by design. So let's find out more about this. So good afternoon and welcome again, and look at the device in your hand, the screen on your desk. For decades, over a decade actually, the portal to design digital world has operated under simple premise, and that is content is the king, right? Now the platform are just like landlords, and they take rent, they don't screen the mail. But today we explore a literal trial in Los Angeles courtroom depicting right here behind you and me that shattered the premise. And this is not just a regulatory debate, it is a product liability trial. Now before we go further, I would like to tell you about our sponsor. Struggling to find the right solution for your business problem? I will like to introduce HelloGig.com, whose AI engines connect you with the top tier freelance from your industries only, and which help in designing a better and scalable solution for your business. Whether you are a SaaS startup or an enterprise, HelloGigs makes sure that you can focus on your core business. With HelloGigs global freelance network, you can depend upon all your technology need, be it software development, artificial intelligence, or video editing, and something else. Ready to hire smarter? Scan the QR code on your screen or click the link below to get started today. And now let's get back to our video. The central question was one that is flashing in the bold across the screen, and is this: definitely, you will also agree, are algorithm illegal? And the especially is that deliberate algorithm design used by companies like Meta, Google, and TikTok, a defective product that intentionally causes harm. We are witnessing a big tech equivalent to a big tobacco movement, and the immunity that has protected these platform is dissolving. And the paradigm of the internet as we know now it is on a trial. Now, to understand why this is a revolutionary movement, we must first understand the wall they built. For nearly 30 years, Section 230 of the Communication Decency Act has been invincible shield of the internet. It states that an interactive computer service shall not be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provider by another content provider. So where we are into that. So the whole scenario actually simply put in such a way, if the user posts something defamatory or very dangerous on Instagram, the user is liable, not the Instagram. And this immunity actually gave birth to wild west of the user generated content, and critically it was always interpreted to also protect how the platform recommend and amplify that content. But in KGM versus Meta and Google 2026, the plaintiff or the well-weather group of young adults are now suing over what someone posted, and they are actually suing over how the algorithm function. Look at the image, the large graphic of the judge gavel smashing the floating structure of a feed labeled algorithm design. The gavel isn't hitting the user, it is actually hitting the architecture. The plaintiff's argument is that the algorithm used by Meta and Alphabet from infinite scroll to the variable reward that definitely hit the likes, when we can put it in the inverted comma, were designed to addict. And I think you will also agree that. And this is a shift from content liability to the product liability. The platform they argue are like a car manufacturers. If a manufacturer built a braking system known to fail just to save money, they are liable. The plaintiff asserted that the platform built a discovery engine known to target and amplify triggering the harmful content like post glamorizing eating disorder on the screen, and that is definitely come into a addictive loop, and especially to increase engagement minutes and the ad revenue. They knew it. The internet document show they knew it, that they are built in anyway. So all these scenario is being discussed in the court. The trial has featured breathtaking testimony. For the first time, CEO like Mark Zuckerberg who represented on that witness stand, faced cross-examination not by distant, something confused member of Congress, but by seasoned product liability trial lawyers holding some very important, very authentic documents. When Zuckerberg was shown internal research from 2021, the internal study that found Instagram makes body image issue worse from one in 3 teen girls, and then asked why the likes counter shouldn't be removed and why the explicit chronological feed wasn't made the default until the regulation forced it. The response was legally evasive but factually illuminating. The repeated pointing to the user safety efforts, but when asked if any safety feature ever prioritized health over engagement metrics, the answer grew silent. The document revealed internal bonus were tied to retention, not safety. The case argument became simple. Safety was a cost and engagement was revenue. The defense strategy, as we see from other legal graphic image, relies heavily on product liability, free speech as a defense, and they argue that a recommending over X post over X over Y post is classical editorial in function and which must be protected. Recommending content, they argue, is speech. But the presiding judge, Judge Roger, made a stunning pre-trial ruling that this court could define a certain core, mechanical and opaque feature of algorithm as design element separates from the speech. If the algorithm is programmed to recognize the pattern of distress or anxiety in users' behavior, like sometimes anxiety triggers in the visualization, and they specifically delivers more distress to increase interaction time, that is physical automated function of the product, not an editorial decision. This ruling cracked the shield of Section 230, and the trial is flowing through the fissure. The significance of this trial extend far beyond the Los Angeles courtroom, and this is bellwether for over 1,600 pending lawsuits in US alone. Furthermore, the argument being validated in California aligns with the regulatory seismic shift elsewhere. Just before the trial, the European Union implemented Digital Service Act, that is DSA, which requires that systematic platform reduce risk. This trial defines platform. The trial actually they defines the platform risk, and this trial also defines liability for those risks. That is very, very important. And when you see in Australia, we saw the government implement the world's first true ban on social media for children under 16, cited unacceptable risk. And California is not the only government taking a sledgehammer to the algorithm model. It is just the place where the financial liabilities will be determined. If this trial succeeds, Section 230, as we understand it, is essentially over. Just assume the plaintiff prevail and the jury finds that the algorithm were neglect, designed to addict and cause harm. The business liability impact would be profound and immediate. The first consequences is infinite scroll must die. To avoid liability, platform would be forced to adapt default setting that empower user, adapt default setting that empower user control also. The automatic endless stream of recommended for you content, which definitely generates 90% of revenue, becomes impossible liability risk and would be definitely will be actually fully will be user can opt and fully designed for user friendly and definitely making risk much lesser. The algorithm engagement machine would be dismantled, and going further, the true business liability impact definitely will be financial to these companies. Meta and Google are not just liable for the harm or to the KGM plaintiff, they are potentially liable for a systematic failure. The business model which maximize engagement time to maximize ad dollar is ruled illegal. The economic fallout definitely will be profound. An entire industry built around the maximizing eyeball retention rather than user utility instantly collapse. The valuation of the companies like Meta, TikTok and Snapchat currently built on exponentially more profoundly user time metrics and would adjust to a new reality of a functional non-addictive internet. Marketing firm, data miner and content factories built to feed the machine would all face a devastating revenue drop. The trial is deciding whether the infinite scroll business model itself has a future. This isn't just about stopping innovation. This is about setting a legal red line. This trial establishes that there is no free speech protection for a product negligence. If the technology causes harm by design, immunity cannot exist. The new rule, if the verdict confirm it, is that the platform are publisher of their recommendation. Section 230 protects what the users say. It does not protect what the machine decide the next user should hear. So we are actually entering in the era of platform accountability. The wild west is over. Though the wild west physically was over much earlier, but now this is a crucial time for these kind of restriction, because the wild west which is over and replaced by the rule of law for algorithm systems. So the answer to the core question, are algorithm illegal? Definitely it will be very complex, but the landmark case itself, the moment captured in this scene, is illegalizing the intentional design of addiction. This is a moment of internet shift from being a tool we use to a tool that use us, and the court decide that the uses have legal limitations. So we are seeing the end of an era where engagement at any cost was legal and financial strategy. The internet is about to become a slower, less predictive, and perhaps less entertaining, but it is also, as decided by the landmark case, about to become safer. We can no longer ignore the physical architectural harm of digital addiction. The gavel is coming down, and it definitely will change everything. So thanks for watching. See you in the next.